Hello and welcome to Bad Boy Cinema. I am your host, Rick Reel, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Elliot Film. Elliot, how are you?
Pretty good.
Great.
I'm
just checking.
On the scale of
We're
1
worried.
to 10. On the scale of 1 to 10, I'm on it. I'm on the scale.
At least you're not. I mean, because you're not above a 10.
Not above a 10. I'm not below a 1.
I don't think you ever have been, but you've been below a 1.
I have been below a 1.
So if you're on that scale, hey, that's huge. Because we were worried. We were worried you weren't on the scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're off the scale, and that's okay.
That's great. Yeah. What have you been up to in this last week since we've convened?
Catching up on film. Let me tell you.
I did see you watched Poor Things.
I did watch Poor Things,
which is not the. I would watch that myself if we want to do that maybe next week. If you're good, not to do the part at the end of the episode within 2 minutes of the start, but maybe check out Poor Things for next week, guys.
Yeah, let's throw that out there.
Let's throw that out there because it is free on Amazon Prime, so I can just watch it at my job, which is this.
This is both of our jobs. This is our job.
Yeah, it's a full-time job to know classic movies and to be an expert. It's
professional.
A lot of man hours go into that.
It's true. Truly, like I'm doing a lot of study. I'm learning about 3-point lighting, other film terms.
I'm learning about how old, sodas were in different decades.
Yeah.
The value of the dollar throughout time, I think is very important to being an expert at movies, right? I mean,
very true.
As we saw in Bedazzled at like the $3 Big Mac meal. How much would that have been in 1970s? Did the Big Mac exist then?
The Big Mac. I'm going to say that it did, and it was 18 cents. That's my information.
Oh, it was invented in 1967, and you were wrong on how much it cost. It started in 1967, selling for 45 cents.
Okay.
So I mean, honestly,
a little bit of corporate greed there, honestly, but.
Well, it started. What funny fact about the Big Mac, which you at home might not know about this, but I do because I'm a film expert, not because I just Googled it, is that it started out at just a one franchise location in Uniontown, Pennsylvania, and which there's a lot of classic movies filmed in Uniontown, Pennsylvania, such as.
It's interesting that the McDonald's employees are not unionized, starting in Uniontown. They got it. Look, McDonald's, go back to your roots. Unionize your employees.
Go back to Uniontown. Make another Big Mac for 45 cents or whatever I said, and
yeah,
it's too expensive. It's like $6 or something. Now
I freaking wish it was $6.
Well, yeah, for you, it's like, forget about it.
I think it's 12.
No, it's not 12. Wait, is it really for one? For you?
Yeah, probably. No. I haven't been to a Mickey D's in quite a while, factually.
I think there's actually an appearance of McDonald's in the movie that we're talking about this week, which is actually why I was talking about it in the first place, and it wasn't just a tangent.
Love a tangent, though.
We love tangents, but this is a well-crafted experience, and not that. So,
what I will say, so the film, as everyone knows, unless it's auto playing and you're, months in the future, you're listening to the Poor Things episode. It auto plays this episode, and you're like, yeah, I know Poor Things. Actually, I just
you're like, yeah, because I'm listening to this podcast in reverse order, like some kind of
people do it, and you know what?
It's not bad.
Happy to have
it can be funny sometimes.
You're a welcome addition to the fan base.
49, at least for me.
I'm not gonna look it up. I'm busy. I'm busy working.
Okay. Well, just I know the audience was really curious about how much a Big Mac cost for me specifically.
If it's for the audience, I'll do it. But I was gonna say the food in this film. The one thing that I would like to call attention to is the Royal Crown Cola.
They really, the Royal, well, and to say the movie out loud, which we have yet to do yet.
It's Driving Taxis.
Taxi Driver. Released in 1976, directed by our
Marty
friend
S.
Marty S. and written by Paul S.
Brothers.
Are they related? We're not going to tell you. You can do your own research, and maybe you could be a film expert and come on this podcast. But until then, this is a show for the experts, which is Elliot and myself, Rick Reel.
We are experts. Okay, the value of a Big Mac is $9.49
for you.
Yeah, but if you're looking for a double Big Mac, it'll cost you $10.89.
Damn. Living in Canada sucks.
You're telling me, brother. And that's only part of the reason why I don't go to McDonald's. You want to get into the real reason?
Sure.
This.
Okay.
They suck.
Yeah, dude. McDonald's is good.
No.
I am a huge McDonald's truther. I think, because I know you're a Wendy's head, right? Wendy's kind of sucks, in my opinion.
Look, Wendy's
outside the 4 for $4, which doesn't exist anymore.
I will say Wendy's is like Chandler Bing and Friends, fluctuates like crazy. Some seasons Chandler Bing is Chandler Binging, you know what I mean? And some seasons he is not. Wendy's,
it depends on where the drug problem is for Matthew Perry.
Now, my feelings about Wendy's, maybe a personal thing where it just depends on my emotional state how much I like Wendy's. Wendy's has notoriously been bad the last few times I've engaged.
It used to be a lot better.
Certainly did, and I'll tell you,
it's so expensive for what you're getting.
Insanely expensive. And I'll tell you, my other favorite fast food, Sonic, which I have to cross the border to get.
Sonic's not bad.
It's a trek and a journey to get Sonic,
sure.
And I'll do the trek and journey. Honestly, worth it. Last 2 times I've had Sonic, disappointed. Now, is my mental state becoming so far to one side of the scale that I no longer feel the joy or feel the need of a fast food burger? Mayhaps.
That sounds like a good thing.
Could be a good thing. I could be just like waking up into reality and being like, wait a minute, this is garbage. This was made. This is like a full meal prepared in 45 seconds. Perhaps this is not God's perfect gift to creation. But I mean, we can get into food because let me tell you about this movie.
I love food. He's eating some food.
I mean, he's eating some food, but in this movie, maybe I would rather talk about food.
So you're saying you didn't like this movie?
My professional opinion, what I would prescribe if I was a PhD MD, my prescription, 2 stars.
2.
2.
I would have given it 4 at least.
Yeah, I bet you would.
Did you do a letterboxed for this?
I did do a letterbox. I gave it 2 stars.
I'll read it.
Okay.
How about that?
Okay.
All right. Yeah. But no, tell me more about it while I pull this up for you.
Yeah, this movie is vibes based. It's very much like a precursor to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
And Joker.
Yeah, I mean Joker has.
I think Joker's worse than this, in my opinion. I think that's also like almost objectively true, but
hot take.
I don't think it's a hot take. I'll read what you have before if you want. You see Taxi Driver, Elliot Film on Letterboxd. Follow Elliot for more reviews. 2 stars, and you said the woke portrayal of astrology girl as a character we're supposed to care about is true feminism, which I also made an observation similar to that of like there's just a lot of weird shit in this movie that like for 1976 I don't exactly know what they were, because of course we were
in cryogenesis.
We were in cryogenesis, so we couldn't watch it. But watching it now and as tuned in with the modern culture as I've tried to be, it's a lot of catching up.
It is quite a lot of catching up.
But why the comments about the astrology, because the girl who's like 12 years old who's being prostituted or whatever, and
that's
Travis Bickle, who is someone up until that point you're like, oh, this guy is a creep and a loser and bad, and even him's like pedophilia and all that.
Dude.
I mean, he doesn't like other people being scumbags, but he himself is like still a weird loser. Definitely has something going on upstairs, spectrally, perhaps.
Yeah. Should he have talked to someone about his brain? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I think the first hint is maybe if you can't sleep at night, don't just get another job.
He makes a lot of bad choices. Which is the point of the movie is, like you said, it's very vibes based, which I love a movie where you're just kind of hanging out and soaking up the vibes, because it's like Travis just ends up in various scenarios where he's like, this person sucks, or he outs himself as like being incapable of human interaction. And
you did.
And then he jumps to some conclusions about quite a lot of things very quickly.
He sure does. You did make a comment about his character during the watching.
Yeah. What did I say again in our
secret group chat?
Yeah.
You said that he's not quite that smart. He may be a dumb man.
He might be pretty dumb.
He might be pretty dumb, which I said was the point.
I don't disagree. I just thought it was funny that he like.
No, I'm with you.
You haven't seen Killers of the Flower Moon yet, right?
That's correct. I'm still catching up.
With Martin Scorsese films, at least the ones that I've seen, a lot of his protagonists are like bad people. But I wouldn't necessarily characterize all of them as
evil,
stupid. No. Yeah. I mean, it's not all of them are evil either, but like most of them who are bad and maybe make bad choices, they might be uneducated, but they're not like morons. You know what I mean? But the Leo in Killers of the Flower Moon and Robert De Niro in Taxi Driver are two that I would definitely say are like real stupid, to the point where I feel bad for them more than I'm like, I mean, Ernest Burkhart or whatever his name is, and kills the flower moon. He's still a bad guy, but you still feel a little bad for these characters because they're just so dumb.
Yeah.
They need to be put in an institution for everyone's benefit.
Yeah, Travis, get some help.
He really needed it.
So I was watching the film with your comment in mind that this guy might be a little dumb, a little slow.
Yeah.
And I was trying to guess at what point in the film you were when you said that.
Fast. It's pretty immediate.
Yeah. I felt like it might be the point where I got to that opinion is when Palantine is in his taxi.
Yeah, I was gonna guess that. That's kind of where you're like, oh wow, like
yeah,
he is an idiot. And so the plot of the movie though being it's kind of meandering and it kind of like changes gears a few different times. But like so Travis picks up the taxi driving job, he doesn't like what he's seeing out and about on these streets. He like gets a crush on a girl and then tries to, date her. And this girl works as a volunteer for the Palatine, which I just kept thinking of Palestine, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm like, surely that wasn't intentional, but
shout out Marty S. It was intentional, actually.
Really?
I'm saying it is.
Or was it Paul S. who wrote that?
Well,
who's to say? Anyway,
who's to say? I'm saying it was intentional on Marty S.'s court.
And until he comes out and says otherwise,
Yeah, Marty S., come on the podcast, defend yourself. I mean, Paul S. also.
I'd love to have two guests.
Any Mr. S out there.
Any S's really, yeah. So he gets a crush on this girl. He tries to take her out, which doesn't work because he takes her to an adult theater and sees nothing wrong with that. He goes to the adult theater earlier in the movie, like just to kind of like.
Yeah, he's just hanging out.
He's not really like getting anything out of it. So,
that's how
he's deeply stupid.
That's how I envision our audience as people who like just go to an adult theater and be like, I don't really know much about film. I don't know movies like that.
You're like, interesting. And I will also say that, we usually do family friendly, mid comedies on this program.
And
this one might not be a family friendly mid comedy.
Yeah.
So maybe don't have a child watching this one, but so he does that. Then he meets Palantine. He's like, I'm going to, vote for you. But then I guess he gets mad about that because he is pro Palantine because he likes the girl. When the girl rejects him, he becomes anti Palantine, it seems. Right.
Yeah.
Was I interpret? Because then at some point he's like, oh, I'm going to assassinate him.
Yeah, he does plan to assassinate him, and he puts in some legwork and then just like doesn't do it.
Yeah, he almost does it and then like kind of pussies out when the bodyguards are like, "Hey," and he's like, "I'm gonna hit the bricks." But I just wanted to make sure I wasn't missing anything when I was watching it. Like he's only planning on assassinating him because he like basically wants to have some kind of meaning in his life. And also he's mad that girl like rejected him. That's how I read it. It seemed otherwise pretty meaningless. Like,
yeah, because like he doesn't know anything about him.
He doesn't know anything about really.
He doesn't know anything about anything. I don't know about politics much. I don't know about movies much. I don't know about taxi driving much. Like, what do you do?
He doesn't. He's really stupid.
I will say. First of all, one of the all-time haircut reveals in any film.
Yeah.
And Mohawk is like pretty progressive for 1970s.
Yeah.
That was ahead of its time.
I liked his jacket too. It's the kind of jacket that anybody in those sort of green jackets with a patch on it, you're like, oh, that guy is unwell.
He's a solitary man.
He is a solitary man. Oh yeah, Travis is. Yeah, but then I like in the story that like despite really everything working against him, he like stumbles into like something good that he can do
Yeah.
purely by accident.
Yeah. And that's,
Where he's like
fine.
meets up with a prostitute who ends up being 12, and he's like, hang on, you should
Well,
be in
hang on
school.
now. Hang on now. Do your parents know where you are?
And he does something real about it,
He certainly does.
And I know some people interpret the ending of the movie where he's praised in the papers and like his life kind of just goes back to normal, except he's still probably very unhinged. But it's just
Yeah.
he blew the steam off, but it's going to build back up, right? People interpret that as like he died and it's like all a dream or some shit, which I think, according to RDS himself, is not true. I think
I
it
think
actually happened in the text of the film.
Yeah, I think that would be bad filmmaking if it was
I
all a
agree.
dream.
I agree, but some people think that because people don't have media literacy. And
yeah, shout out Marty S for standing up for true film heads. I will say this about Marty S, and I'm reading some controversy, as they say in the UK.
There's a little bit. Marty S does a little no-no in the middle of this movie, which we have yet to totally discuss. I really don't know what he was thinking. But go ahead with your thing. Unless we're talking about the same.
We are not talking about the same thing. This is a little
good.
This is a little real life controversy, as they say in the UK. So John Hinckley Jr., attempted assassinator of President Ronald Reagan in 1981. So he said himself that he wanted to impress Jodie Foster.
I think I remember reading.
Yeah. So that's why he did that. Is he's like, Jodie Foster was in a movie about like trying to kill a president type guy.
Yeah.
And credit to Jodie Foster. She didn't really vibe with that. She was pretty upset about most things in the film.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. So John Hinckley Jr., he gets his own mohawk going. And
so he literally he's one of the first that guy's just like me for real guys.
Yeah, he saw Taxi Driver and he's like, literally me. And then in the trial they were like, oh, this guy is insane.
Yeah.
So says a little bit about Travis Bickle.
This says a lot about our average listener. Let me tell you, folks. My thing that I was going to say about Marty S.
Let me conclude real quick.
Oh, sure. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, please. By all means.
In the trial, John Hinckley's attorney played Taxi Driver for the jury. They watched the whole thing.
That's kind of a sick move.
This was like, ladies and gentlemen of the jury,
this is peak.
Look at this, though. And now how cool was it that he did that? Huh?
That's like watch somebody like now play the Joker.
Yeah.
It'd be like, huh?
Mm-hmm. No. Mm-hmm. Much to consider. Really makes you think.
Really makes you. Yeah.
So Marty S. Heard about all this hubbub in the courthouses, and he considered retiring from filmmaking because he said, you can't be doing this. And look, I don't get political on a show very often. It's cool to assassinate Ronald Reagan. Marty S. he's not very cool for being like, you tried to kill the worst president ever. Dude.
Well, in Minecraft.
Sure.
Let's be clear. For legal reasons.
It is illegal to kill Ronald Reagan. Let the record show.
Yeah. I think killing presidents is bad, but if you had to kill one of them.
Yeah.
And one who's already dead. So
Yeah. If I could kill any president.
But you shouldn't do it. Let's be
Yeah.
clear. Don't do it. But gun to your head, you had to. Hypothetically, in Minecraft, Ronald Reagan's not a bad option.
Yeah, if I could kill any one president who's already dead in Minecraft, I mean, number one is Woodrow Wilson. That's just a personal beef that I had from back in the day. And number two is Ronald Reagan. So, shout out John Hinckley for almost destroying Marty S.'s film career.
That would have been sad, though.
Yeah. Would have missed out on Shark Tale, folks. Movie would not have been the same.
The thing that Marty S did in the movie, which I don't know if this was his choice or Paul S.'s choice. Maybe it was a collaborative effort. I mean, it really could have gone. I'm likely to blame Paul on this one if I had to blame somebody.
I would also be likely to blame Paul.
But also, Marty S didn't have to do the scene. He didn't have to read the line.
I wouldn't put it past either of them, but I would be more likely to blame Paul for writing it. Yeah,
but Marty S plays a small cuck essentially in the movie, talking to Travis. Travis takes him to, because like the movie's like a bunch of vignettes, kind of like people being bad. And occasionally there's plots, like it all kind of connects in the plot or narrative themes, whatever. So one of those little vignettes, I guess, is Marty S in the cab, and he's like, Travis, like, stop here. We're gonna watch my wife through the window, like, have sex with somebody who isn't me. And he references the person who it might be as he says the N-word, which is you shouldn't do. But of course, Marty S is a white guy, and says true. He doesn't just say the N-word, he says the word that he should say. And so again, I mean, I know it was the 70s, but like he didn't have to say that.
Yeah. I don't know that it added anything to the film.
I don't think, I'm like, not one to like say, well, this, we're looking at this at a different time, but I'm like, it doesn't really add much. He could have still been like a small cuck talking to a taller, insane man, which sounds like a podcast I've heard of. But I'm drawing
never heard of it.
Yeah. I'm just thinking of a podcast dynamic, but that could, anyways.
Now Marty S and Travis Bickle, if they had a podcast,
what would you call it? I think 2 words. But I don't know what those words would be.
Taxi driver. Is what I would call it. I just call it taxi driver, honestly. Look, I'm not going to get all in the weeds on this one.
Yeah. This is just a little tip of the hat to,
to taxi driver.
To taxi driver.
Nothing else.
Nothing else. Not a single thing.
Yeah. So thinking about this scene, it doesn't add anything to the movie, but conversely, almost no other scene by itself adds anything to the movie.
Well, like I think it adds the vibes, and like I think the Travis's growing displeasure with things. He doesn't really know anything, but he knows that he doesn't like what he's seeing, right?
Yeah.
And so this is like another thing where he's like, and he's previously mad about the girl rejecting him for taking her to the adult theater, which again, very normal thing to reject somebody for, and anyone with half a brain cell would not take a girl to an adult theater, or anybody to an adult theater. I think that's like a solo activity, unless you've been married for like 20 years and you're kind of weird. Maybe you do that, but going to an adult theater in general, kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't get it.
It does not sound like my kind of thing, but they didn't have like
as a film professional, do things differently,
I agree. But that scene does add to his displeasure, probably towards he's making a mental connection maybe towards hating women, and then he's like, and I hate that guy that she works for, so I'm gonna assassinate. He just sort of,
Yeah.
again, I'm not really, because he is like an insane, stupid man, so it's kind of like a little fruitless to try and like interpret what's cooking in
Yeah.
that noodle of his,
Doing a
because
little red
it's not
string
much.
theory on nonsense.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, what I'll say about this film as to why you liked it and I didn't. It's very
I'm afraid of where this is going.
No, this is fine. You're gonna agree with me. Um, it's extremely vibes based, as we all know.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
love a vibes based movie. I love a vibes based book.
We're not big plot heads on this program.
Yeah, plot sucks.
Yeah.
But the reason I don't like this movie, why it didn't hit me, the vibes are bad.
Yeah,
I love
again,
vibes, but it's just all bad vibes.
I agree. I mean, this is like it's a vibes movie, but like for when you're not feeling like you just want to sit down and hang out. It's like
Yeah.
you want to sit down and hang out, but like just be uncomfortable for a while, and then like also soak in the 70s, which is kind of, it's,
Yeah.
you have to be in the right mood for it if that's even your kind of movie in the first place. But
yeah, I wish there was more
there's a little more character work.
Yeah, I wish there was like more 70s shown, I guess. I don't know.
Because it's a lot of him just sort of driving around.
Yeah, it's a lot of like
and
you see his
monologuing about
eyeballs.
how he hates people.
You see his eyeballs in the rearview mirror, and you're like, "Nice, dude."
There's some cool shots in this film. It
well
is aesthetically
made,
pleasing to me.
competently made film. Don't like the vibes, but the most interesting thing to me was when he was getting food at the theater, and it's like, we got a Royal Crown cola. Royal Crown, hit us up. We'll shut you. We'll sponsor. Yeah. We'll do an ad read for Royal Crown. And like, that's a bygone era of saying Royal Crown. Now it's just RC.
Yeah. I love that texture.
Yeah, it's a little bit of Americana.
Yeah.
Travis Bickle,
this is a good snapshot of a certain type of American aesthetic, I would say, of a certain time period.
Like if he like went to the bar in a bowling alley in this movie, would fit right in.
That would be great.
That would be an amazing scene. Look,
and you can have women in the background doing something, and he can monologue about how he needs to cleanse these streets or these bowling alleys or whatever. You could have slot that in. It would have been great.
Would have been beautiful.
Would have fit in perfect.
Drinking at the bar in a bowling alley is like peak Americana, and I think that we need to bring that back. I think that's a lost to time piece of culture. And it's sad. You got the sound of the pins. I might just.
I was at a bowling alley recently, and it's like upscale, which I think defeats the purpose of a bowling alley in my mind. It should be something where it's like it costs next to nothing. Anybody can go in. This doesn't have to be an upscale thing. There does not need to be an arcade and a laser tag thing and an axe throwing thing all in the same building. I just want, you walk in, you pay $10, you get some shoes and a ball. You go to the stupid little shitty like not diner, but like they have a little food area that sucks.
Yeah.
You get like a patty melt or something.
It's like the same counter it's the same counter that they give you your shoes at, and you just
slide down, you get all your food on it. That is peak bowling. And and I was not getting this at this other place. This other place, you spend $50 to rent a bay for an hour, and then you also buy the shoes. And then like I got a drink, it was like $20 for one old fashioned, and I was like, what happened to America?
Yeah.
Just to go at like to make it high end, but like the music was too loud, the lights were all flashing, so it was really disorienting, and I couldn't just focus on bowling.
Yeah, you need a lane that has seen some balls, and you need a TV showing animations from 35 years ago of like
that are a little dicey. They haven't aged well. Not just because of the quality of the CG, but like
in the writing of a bowling pin going to jail or whatever they do with
yeah, like it's
the bowling ball turns into a bull and it anyway.
like a 9/11 bowling ball.
But it's prophetic. It's from 1992.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a ball turns into a plane and hits a bunch of buildings.
Yeah. And they turn into pins, and you're like, it's fine.
It was written by
Dick Wolf. I don't know.
Paul S.
It could be Paul S.
It might be Paul S.
I wonder if we could get a job writing for Bowling Lane Animations.
I think.
Is that job hiring?
We could. Yeah. It's like a bowling ball is like doing stand-up comedy, and then like it goes in the gutter and everyone boos them. All the pins boo them. Then he does a funny joke, and then they knock him dead.
Yeah,
that's two right there.
Yeah, we could have the bowling ball takes a pin to an adult movie theater. After the pin runs away,
leaves.
The pin
That's
leaves.
A split.
Yeah,
there you go. Or it's two pins and they go to the theater, and then the porn is the bowling ball.
It comes through the screen.
Yeah, and then it's a split. There you go. It's like we could
do this.
We could knock 10 hours of just brainstorming.
Planet Bowl, hit us up. We will not be animating them, but that's fine. Maybe
throughout the movie, to kind of go back to Taxi Driver. I know we were talking
to the movie. I was about to do an RPG Maker bit. We gotta move on.
I mean, we could get into that later. But to bring it back to the movie, I know I want to talk about a couple of things before we kind of bring it in for landing, because I do have a hard out. Robert De Niro as Travis. I know you said the same thing as I did, where it was very hard to imagine old Robert.
Yeah.
As young Robert.
He's
like comically so.
Yeah. He has made a hard transition in his life and career, I would say.
He's become an old man.
Yeah, he's kind of
but it's like unrecognizable. Like, you've seen old people and you can kind of follow a thread, but it's like something happened with him where he just looks totally different. Maybe it's just being Italian. I think that is kind of what it is.
It's interesting that Robert De Niro is not like a target for they cloned him conspiracy, because you'll get that with like Eminem, Avril Lavigne, anyone who's like has
somebody who's been like replaced by somebody else.
Yeah, they're like anyone who's had a decline in quality of their work or like just a style change. People are like, it's a clone, it's a replacement.
You can make that for like he's a botched clone.
Look at De Niro. What is he doing?
Like after the 90s, it was like, what happened? Other than occasionally he has like a
good performance again, kind of moment,
or Killers of the Flower Moon. He's really good in that. You should check it out.
We'll check it out.
But yeah, it's like, what happened? They don't make movies like this anymore.
Yeah. How many films can you do about how like I'm 80 and I will say the word pussy? Like, he's doing a lot of them.
A lot.
He's doing a lot, and that's fine.
He should be allowed to do that if he wants to.
He's put in his work. He's earned his stripes in the hood. Let him live. But I will offer this. The alternate castings for this.
Okay. We do like doing our fan castings on Bad
So
Boy
this is
Cinema.
the official alternates that turned the role down or did not pass the audition. Dustin Hoffman as Travis could be okay.
Yeah,
Could be okay. Maybe he was in his Ratso Rizzo era. Al Pacino. I mean, why not? Sure.
why not? They're basically interchangeable.
And Jeff Bridges.
No.
Young Jeff Bridges in the 70s.
Maybe.
Maybe. I could see
I'm
it.
I'm thinking current Jeff Bridges, and it's
Yeah.
no.
This is pre the bowling movie.
What modern person would be Travis? You know?
I mean, if they were to make it 2024,
And he's an
we
Uber
all
driver.
know. We all know Kumail Nanjiani.
And why would it be him?
Because he was in Stuber.
He was. I mean, yeah. I was thinking Stuber as well. Stuber is in a lot of ways. Stuber is sort of like
the modern taxi driver.
A modern taxi driver in the fact that they wouldn't make Taxi Driver as it like is. That. They don't make it because Taxi Driver is such like a personal kind of like low stakes kind of just you're hanging out with a guy who's clearly upsetting and is upset and is going to do something real, and then he does, and you're just like because at the end of the movie he instead of to finish out our analysis, and we talked about this ourselves in our private correspondences, at the end of the movie, instead of assassinating this Palatine, he goes and just kills the people involved with prostituting the 12-year-old. And at one point he like blows off a guy's hand.
Yeah.
As you said, where he just kind of stands there like, he's like, oh. And then later it transitions to he's like, oh, I'm going to get you.
Yeah.
That part of the movie was the one part where I was like, this didn't age well. This like 5-minute sequence. I'm like, this kind of sucks. It's very silly.
Yeah. I don't know if they knew how to do action at the time.
That part didn't land. And this movie had granted it's 1976 money, but a budget of 1.9 million. In the box office, it got 28.6, which is insane to me that people went out to see this.
Yeah.
Because whatever if you adjust for inflation, this movie's not making whatever the 28.7 million is in 2024 money. Not making that at all. If you just release this movie again in theaters, like audiences would be wildly uncomfortable by this.
Yeah, if they release this today, it's going to star Timothée Chalamet, and it's going to be.
I was going to say Timothée Chalamet would be Travis Bickle.
Yeah, he would absolutely be Travis Bickle, and this is like an Amazon Prime original or something. This is not hitting theaters.
Yeah,
this is not at the Megaplex, and that's fine.
Hold on, I'm actually gonna real quick do a
little study.
28.6 million.
Yeah, that's correct.
I'm just typing this into the.
This.
Oh, that's so weird. How this is a terrible interface.
That's fine. I think. So what would happen is it would be Timothée Chalamet and I don't know, probably Sydney Sweeney or something as
it doesn't let me do millions, so we'll never figure it out. Well, I guess I can just do hold on, I'm stupid. I can just do 28.6.
We'll never know.
We'll figure I'm gonna figure this out.
No, we'll never know. I think now I did say it as a joke because of Stuber.
It's 160 million in today's money.
That's fine.
Is what it came out.
It could maybe.
What did Joker make? Just curious, because Joker is basically this movie. If we want to talk about kind of modern, if you want to make this movie, you have to
get Todd Phillips on the phone.
What the fuck? Film and television. Where's Joker the movie? Films. 2029. There's a million
You're
films named
freaking
Joker.
out.
The Joker made $1.079 billion.
And what's that in 1976 money?
I don't know, like 50 cents.
Yeah, I do genuinely think that Kumail Nanjiani could do this role.
Yeah. Like
because
buff post
he
Eternals
is,
Kumail.
yeah, he is jacked. He's good at working out, which is, it's a moment in this film.
I also appreciate that he's fit, but like in a very normal guy fit sort of way.
If he wears like a large shirt, you're like, he's a guy.
He just looks like a guy who happens to, do
you put on
sometimes.
you put a long sleeve on Kumail and you're like, what do you know? Yeah, I am talking to you. And then he rolls up his sleeves and you're like, I'm not talking to you. Somebody else is here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's also good at quiet moments. I think Kumail would be a solid pick for this film, but it would be Timothy, unfortunately.
It would be, yeah.
Timothy,
Hollywood, reach out. We can.
Hollywood, we could cast this. Let me tell you, who would be Betsy in my fan casting? Great question.
Zendaya.
You know what?
We're just doing Dune.
Yeah, they would probably make Tom Holland. You're right. Okay. Anyway, that's the episode. Check out Poor Things next week. It's gonna be a gas.
Oh, maybe.
Have you
Should
ever
I watch that at work, or is that not a work movie?
That is not a work movie.
Okay. I mean, this one was barely a work movie either, to be honest. But
this is less of a work movie.
Yeah. Okay.
That's the episode, folks. Keep your eyes on the horizon.